Hey game designers, welcome to part 5 of the walking animation tutorial. In this one, we're going to do the in-between frame, which is frame 3. So in the last video, we created a duplicate of frame 2, this one. We called it, and we moved it over here, and we renamed it the before frame. Then we made a copy of frame 4 and moved it over here, and we called it the after frame. And then we duplicated frame 4 again, or just the after frame, right on top of it, calling it frame 3. So basically what we're doing here is kind of putting all three frames on top of each other, frame 3 being the one that we're going to model. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on frame 3, and I locked up all the other frames so that we can't really mess with it. And I'm going to start with the right arm. Okay, so the right arm, you can see the before frame is right here, the after frame is right here. So I'm just going to move my pivot to the center of the shoulder socket here, and I'm just going to rotate a little bit downward, right? So you can rotate it down. You can see all three frames now. So this is the before, this is the after, this is the one I'm currently working on. And remember that we do want to mimic gravity here as best we can. When something swings up against the gravity, similar to the ball, you want to move it a little bit toward the top side because you want to show that it's going to move slower and slower as it goes up to the peak of its swing because again we're fighting against gravity. So I mean I want to be somewhere in between, um, obviously closer to the middle, but a little bit favoring the right side just to again mimic that gravity. Okay, so again all we're doing is we're creating the frames in between. So this is the before, this is frame 3, this is the after. So frame 2, frame 3, frame 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the shirt. The shirt should not move. It's consistent with all three models. We're going to move on to the leg now. So the leg is where, again, some of the work is going to be done. And again, I just want to choose points that are in between. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on the right leg. Click on the right leg shape, and all my knots are showing. If it's not showing, just go ahead and use the path select tool, select all the knots. And now what we're doing is we're kind of creating the in-between frames. I guess because I changed the buttocks a little bit. So the after buttocks is right here, the before buttocks is right here. So I'm just gonna move mine down, kind of get in between. Okay. Now this knot looks like it stayed consistent among the frames. I'm gonna leave it. This frame looks like it's moving from the before it's over here, the after is over here. So I'm just gonna choose somewhere in between. Okay. And again, you're going to end up moving the handles to try to make it look close to what it's like. So you can see here, this is the after, this is the before, this is the after, and the leg is kicking backwards. So I'm going to kind of give it a little bit favor toward um, the backside because that's where it's moving more slowly. Okay. Again, you can see the after is right here, the before is right here. So I'm going to kind of go in between right there. The before picture is kind of hard to see on this one. I'm assuming it's not too much of a change, so I'm just going to kind of go on top of the middle of the line here. And I'm going to fix a knot just a little bit here to make it look like I'm in between. Okay. And now fix up some of the lines here. This line is going to be relatively straight. Um, that looks good. That looks good. That looks good. And now I'm going to go ahead and move on to the right shoe. So again, this is the after frame. This is the before frame. And I want to move my shoe. So I'm going to try to use my rotate tool first, or my move tool. Kind of just move it in between, right? Something like that. And it's inside the leg, it looks like. Um, and it's in between the two frames. And it just makes sure that it's inside my leg. So I'm going to go ahead and actually, when you get to the point where you can't see which leg is which leg anymore, and you're just confused, you can just turn off the before and the after frames, right? So I can just click on the eye and turn off those frames, and I can just look just at my frame. And it looks like I need to move a little bit to the left to make sure it fits inside the pant cuff. Okay, and then I want to turn those frames back on and make sure that I'm still in between. My frames are still in between. And it looks like I'm still in between here. Again, I could use my pen tool and maybe move my knots just a tad bit and kind of move my handles a little bit, try to get right in between there. And everything else looks good to me. And it fits inside the pants leg. So that finishes my right leg. I'm gonna go ahead and close this. Oh, let me sure I fix the seam too. Um, so let's make sure I turn off these so I don't get confused about which one's which. You can see that my right cuff is not adjusted correctly. So again, I'm just gonna move it over here. Try to keep it the same length as these over here. You can just eyeball it. Yeah, I have a little bit too curved here. Okay, that looks better. Okay, maybe I need to curve it a little bit more. There we go. Okay, that looks good there. My shoe looks good. Everything looks good here. Um, okay, so that finishes the right leg. Let's move on to, I'm not using the seam overlap. The lower torso also seems good. I don't see anything here. Let me go ahead and turn back my before and after. I don't see anything that I need to change there. Let's go ahead and go onto the left leg. Um, let's go ahead and go to the left leg. So the left leg is where we're going to have a lot of the changes. Right now my frame 4 is kind of in the way, so I'm just going to close the eye on that so I can just look clearly at these two frames. And again, I'm going to use the left leg shape, use my pen tool. If you don't see the knots, use your path select tool. And you can see now that there's a lot of things happening here. The leg is kind of swinging forward, and this was the knee, this was the old knee, so I'm picking somewhere in between, so I'm just going to choose right here. Okay, this is the before, this is the after. So this frame is going to be somewhere, and I'm going to favor the top side just a little bit to again show the um, that gravity is taking effect here. This is the after, this is the before. So if you think about this as a kicking arc, a kind of a curve, right? I want to favor. Actually, I want to go favor. This is going to go fast, so I'm going to go more toward this way. Okay, so favor kind of on this side. And the after is right here, the before is right here. So I'm gonna kind of go somewhere right here. That looks good. And move this more down this way. And now I'm going to fix my handles. So obviously the handles got to look more perpendicular. And you don't want to make it too straight, but you want to make it roughly straight here. Give him a little bit of a curve. Okay, I'm going to go here, maybe give it a little bit of a curve. I think it's going to curve in. I think they want to make it look like it's curving in a little bit. And fix these handles right here. Oops, missed the handle. There we go. Give it a little bit of a curve on the bottom here. There we go. And it looks kind of 90 degrees. I can favor it a little bit more. Somewhere right there looks good. Okay, come over here, give it a little bit of curve. And there we go. This looks good to me. It's in between, favoring the downside and the swing side over here. So now I'm going to go ahead and use my left cuff and move it over. Again, when you get confused about which one's which anymore, just turn off the before and the after because the seams need to match the current frame that we're on. So this might make it easier here. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go to my left shoe. Use the rotate tool. Bring it over here. Kind of get it in there. And it looks like my shoe's a little bit big. So that means my leg is a little bit too small. So I'm gonna go back and kind of just fix this a little bit here. Use my pen tool. And that just shows me when I'm scaling that I need to, make sure that everything is the right size. So I just made the left leg a little bit bigger. Okay, and now that looks a little good. I can turn back on my before and after. So you can see here is the before, the frame that I'm working on, and the after. It's nice and good swing here. And again, we're going to go back to the, now that we finished the left leg, the left arm. So again, the left arm is in the back. You don't really see it. But you know what? What we can do, let's just go ahead and turn off all the things that we're not working on. Okay, we're just going to leave the head and the left arm. And I'm going to go into the after and do the same thing. I'm going to turn off everything besides the left arm and the head, just to make sure that I'm doing a good job of lining things up and showing the before and the after. So again, I got only the arms and the leg now. This is the If I go back to the arm, use my rotate tool, move the arm to the pivot. So the after is on the right, the before is on the left. And again, I can just use the rotate tool and just swing it somewhere in between, right? And again, it gives it that, you know what? Looking at it like this, seeing through and looking at the arm, it's not swinging enough, right? It's probably not swinging enough um, from all 3 frames. So maybe I should even go back and look at frame number 2 um, and just fix things up a little bit here. It doesn't look like my arm is swinging nearly enough. So let's go look at frame 2 and kind of turn things off and just see where is my uh, left arm. Actually, I can turn off just a shirt, right? If I turn off just a shirt, I can see that my left arm does not swing nearly enough, right? Compared to my left leg going up, my left arm should be swinging way, way, way more back. So I'm just gonna click on the left arm and I'm gonna rotate it back. Oops. Now obviously you need to change the pivot to the arm socket here. And as much as your left leg goes forward, your left arm should be going back. So maybe I just didn't rotate it nearly enough, right? So let's go and do the same thing with our Homer 3 arm here. And unfortunately, I didn't catch this before, but I should have. So let's just go ahead and turn it back on here. And I'm just going to turn off the shirt because the shirt lets me see through and I see the arm here. And the leg is kicking even more forward. So my left arm, not my left leg, using the move tool and rotate tool, I should actually move this way back here, right? Because my left foot is almost at its full swing. My left arm should be far back. So again, let's just go ahead. Now we're just going to have to eyeball it because we're not going to take the time to duplicate this again. But let's go to our before picture and click on the left arm. And this is the before, right? So this is frame 3. Not that it matters because we already kind of changed the original. But let's say the left one should match this one right here. So that looks like that. That looks good. Let's go to my frame after. Go to the left arm. Go here. And it should be in full swing. So my arm should be somewhere like that. So my current arm in frame 3, should be somewhere in between. And I got to make sure I help you guys fix that in case I didn't catch it. Let's go into the left arm. And this is the after. Again, this is frame 3, the left arm. Move my arm socket over here and give it somewhere in between, favoring the top side a little bit here. Because again, things as they're swinging up, it's going to face gravity. They should be slowing down, more frames at the top, and that should be good. And now I'm going to go on and move on to the head. In the head, we were just playing around here. So again, I'm going to move the rotation around the neck. And we're just going to give a slight tilt back because I think we went forward, really forward, and somewhere in between. Okay, and that does it. We're kind of done with this. Let's go ahead and kind of turn back everything in terms of revealing where we're at. Go back to frame number 4, turn everything back on as well. Close frame after, go to before, turn those back on. And let's make sure frame 3 is on. Okay. And again, when you're done, we can go ahead and turn back the opacity back to full. Go back and change this opacity back to full. And here's something cool I want to show you guys. You guys can go and rename these real quickly to underscore, if we made it correctly, underscore B underscore. And B is not the correct renaming convention, but we're going to just rename it to something not correct for a minute. Because what we want to see is just frame 2, 3, and 4 next to each other. Okay, and underscore A underscore. And underscore A underscore. And the frame 3, frame underscore. And this one, I'm just going to leave it incorrectly named or just make it underscore B. We'll change B back to A later. Okay. But what I want to show is the before and then frame 3 and then after. So frame 3 is the one in between. when we were creating it, we put it on the top, but let's go ahead and just put it in the middle right now. So now we have the before, the middle, and then the after. And what I want to do is kind of show you guys that poor guy in frame number 4. He turn back his shirt. Oh, not his lower torso, not his overlap. Okay, and not this one overlap. I think I accidentally turned on the overlap there. Let's go frame 3, not to turn on the seam overlap. Okay. All right, and make sure, I think I might have turned it on over here. Overlap, accidentally turned it on. And the after, yeah, turn it on. Okay. All right, so now that we have it in order, before, 3, and this, we can actually go File, Export as GIF, and just see the details of our Homer. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and zoom out, pan over. So I'm going to slow it down a little bit because it looks kind of jittery here. Oops, 15%, not 1500%. And you can see the frame. Tick, 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 left, 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 right arm goes back, curls back, boom, left leg, doom, 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 head, dun, 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 right, and moves forward, middle, forward. So everything seems to be moving in the correct directions. Now we're able to create frames even when we don't have them. We don't have a reference for them. We can create the in-between frames relatively well. And there it is, folks. I'll see you guys on the next video.